Hi, it's Annalie. Today I am working on a special project that I really hope turns out for me. I don't know, a lot of my friends and my daughters especially keep trying to come up with challenges for me to make specific cards. And of course, every single time somebody asks me to make a challenging card, I don't have a die to go with it. So now my daughter's friend is getting engaged today, and she loves to do pottery. So my daughter wants me to make a card with hands on a pottery pot and then a diamond ring on the hand. I don't have anything like that. The only thing that I have is this stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, which is a graduation one. I don't know if you can see that. It's graduation hands throwing everything up into the air. So I thought, okay, yesterday I started working on it and I cut out 2 hands, and then I realized that every single hand is a left hand. So today what I'm gonna try to do is, I know I've seen this before, I've done this before. I'm going to try to make a reverse image so that I have, this is my paper, so that I can have a right hand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take this plain stamp set. This is just Paper Smooches stamp set. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to stamp onto here. Now I've let it sit for long enough. I'm gonna stamp it again just to make sure it's juicy. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm gonna just stamp it onto here. And now that will become my stamp so that I can do a reverse image, hopefully. Perfect. Now I will just push this onto here. Let's see if that works. Oh. All right, now is that worked. All right, it's a little bit faint, but that worked. So now I will wait for it to dry and continue on. Now I ran it through my embossing folder. This is an Altenew textured block 3D folder. And I just used this corner here to give it a little bit of texture. Now, to decide what to do from here, I'm gonna need to add some flowers just to make it pretty. Wish me luck. So now I am just going to lightly ink blend some of my flowers, and I do it fairly quickly. So I'm gonna use olive, and then I will also use some of the green opal. And I don't always make it perfect. It'll all blend together, so I'll just do some of the tips of that one, and then I'll come in. I love this green opal. I think it's such a pretty dark green color, so I use this a lot. But I don't want it to take the place of the other green. I just want them to play nicely together. Okay, I may have to add more leaves, but that's what I'm starting with. Now for the flowers, I think the pink will look nice. Raspberry, I think I'm just checking it with the color of the vase. I think that's what I will do. So I have my pink diamond, Pinkalicious, raspberry, and rubellite. I'm gonna start with the pink diamond just because it's a nice light pink. I don't know how pinky I want to go. So I'm just gonna start light. Sorry about my dog. He's just barking. Must be somebody walking by. I think I'll do one of these a light pink. Then I think I'll switch. I'm doing a lot of thinking. Did you notice? I think. Do a little bit of Rudolite. I'll make the bottom one of this Rudolite. And when they stack up together, it'll be a little bit like a shadow. So I have Sunray. And I'm gonna make this part Sunray. I'll make some of these Sunray, but not too dark. Well, maybe should these? Whatever I don't like, I won't use. And then try a red jasper. I don't know. That'll be underneath. So what I do with this one is I just try to fluff the edges so that it stands up a bit. Same with here. And I'll use my flower shaping tool just to make it stand up a little bit. Clean up some of those edges, and then hopefully it'll pop up a little. I'll put this on here. What I love about this is the Be Bold and Club Blooms set from Spellbinders. I have both of them on here. I don't have them sorted correctly because I know they're both together, but it's a great set. It just gives you a lot of playful flowers, and there's so many different ways that you can use them and enhance them. There's so many different centers you could do. You could layer up the flowers, which I actually might do right here, just to make them fun. So many different things you can do. Right now, this one will have to go on here. But look how cute these flowers are. They're just adorable. I used to use these all the time, and then maybe I overdid it, because then I stopped for a little while. Got to put these silly hands back in here just to see how it's gonna look. Does that look like it's all about the pottery? I don't know. But the last card I had to make for my daughter, she's at the age now where all of her friends are getting engaged. So one got engaged a couple weeks ago, and she and her fiance both like bulldogs. So I had to make a bulldog engagement card. It turned out cute. But then I have another friend who asked me yesterday to make a card for her daughter who just graduated with her doctorate degree in psychology. So she wanted a brain card for a graduation card. That was a challenging one, but I did hand draw a brain and I added it to the background. She likes it, so I guess it worked, but it's not one that I would probably ever make again. You never know. It is fun. I do like the challenge. And I do tell people, I will try, but there is no guarantee that what my brain is thinking is anything like what your brain is thinking. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Here I'm just forming these petals, just kind of pulling them down, breaking up the fibers so that they bend up just a little bit. And then on this one, I will do it on the reverse side. And I will bend the petals down so that they're going in a different direction. You can do the same thing on leaves if you want the leaves. I love these reverse tweezers. They just make it so much easier for me to hold on to anything that I'm using. And when I started out, I would see people using the tweezers and I said, I'm not spending money on tweezers. I have fingers, they're gonna be fine. But let me tell you, when you're paying attention, they really, really help. Not only that, but I can also use them if I needed to, just to hold the pieces together while I work on something else. But this one, I don't really think it needs it. Next thing I'm gonna do is color these hands with some alcohol markers. So I just used my background dye. It basically just leaves the design. I can't remember the name of it. And I don't know where I got the dye from. I do wish companies would put their names on them because I lose track of who makes what. But I just did that. I think it's kind of a nice romantic engagement background. So I use it pretty often. And just to keep the color scheme kind of going, I'm going to use Scattered Straw. This is a Distress Oxide. So I'm just going to use this for the background. Just like that. Just doesn't have to be a perfect layer for me. And then we can start building. I'm going to remove my mat. I don't need that. Grab my leaves so that I have everything here. And this is where I just play. So most important is these silly pottery hands. They're not silly. That it means a lot to her. So I want it to embrace her love of what she does. So I love it that my daughter comes up with these different ideas because they are more meaningful than just a regular card. Which is why we are card makers, right? Let's see, I think I need another light pink in here. And if we add in the leaves, I don't really want to cover up the shape of the pot. All right, I'm going to add these on. I'm going to add those on like that. I'm trying to think, should I glue them or I make them three-dimensional? But I think I will just glue them and then cut the edges off. It is really hard when you know somebody else has an idea in their mind and you just don't know exactly what that idea is. So I want this to be here to look like she's forming the pottery, even though it already has flowers in it. But I just can't come up with a different vision. So this is what we're doing. And then I'm just going to trim off the bottom here. You can't tell it's a graduation gown, right? Let's hope. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna like this. I don't know if those pinks might be a little bit too bright. I'll have to have a second one on standby. So I'm just gonna use some foam tape from Altenew to add to my vase so that it stands up nice. I'm going to attach it right now to the card base, just because sometimes I think it's easier when I know I'm going to have a lot of dimension. It's just easier to make sure it's nicely attached and it'll stay down. And sometimes with these cover die plates, they don't really like to stay down without having something holding them, and it's hard to have it hold them. I've already done it anyway. It's hard to have it. See, it's rolling up, so every edge needs to be held down. I should have done that before I added the pot. So I'm just going to push those down just to be sure that it adheres to the card base. If I had all the flowers on there, it would be harder. So I'll just give that a second. I'm applying a little pressure just all the way around. The other thing I could have done is double-sided tape. That probably would have been a better idea for this one. Let's see, I think that'll be good. Put that there for now. And then I have some foam dots that I will most likely use for some of these flowers. Okay, here we go. I don't know, maybe I won't even use that many. Yeah, I think it's better with fewer flowers. What do you think? Yeah, maybe that's better rather than having too many flowers on there. I can always add more if I need. This one I will glue down because it's more in the background. This one will get foam dots. Probably doesn't need 3, but I hope you don't hear my stomach growling. I really think that every single time I sit down to do a video, my stomach growls. I think because the first thing I want to do in the morning is get up and come to my craft room, and I just don't even think about eating. So I come here and then I'm growling. And I apologize for that. This one will also get a foam dot, but only one right there in the middle. let's just add in some leaves. I think I'm going to cut these apart. You can change your dies around, make them exactly how you want them. You definitely do not need to keep them together just because that's the way they came. You can change them up and make them your own. Okay. Yeah, I like that better than with too many flowers. We'll just leave it like that. And I can use those flowers for something else. Oh, I cut the other piece of the vase so that I could stack them together, and then I forgot to do that. That's what happens. When I start something, I just get so focused that I forget everything else. Because I know this is going to be hand delivered. I know I can put on a much more dimensional diamond, call it a diamond, than I normally would. And it's got to be big because I just know it'll be big. Where are my clear diamonds? There they are. My clear gemstones. They're not diamonds. She's getting her own diamond today from somebody else. I am not giving her a diamond. But I can put one here. And I know it's going to look silly. So I do keep all my gemstones in one of these bead boxes. Actually, and I think I have 5 of these bead boxes that are completely filled with sequins and gemstones. And they work for me. I just have to be very careful that I never drop them. All right, Christina, here's your diamond ring. And then I need a sentiment. And I have this beautiful sentiment from Spellbinders, a ring, a promise, a lifetime. And I'm just popping that up on double-sided tape. And there we have it. This needs something right here. And I'm going to just put one up here just as a, oops, this is another triangular embellishment area just to have 3. And there we have it. I hope this is what my daughter had in mind, but I do think that the bride will like it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you share with me some of your creative ideas. And I also hope that you have a great day. Talk to you soon.